All right. Martin McDonagh has directed one of the most awards-buzzy movies of the year, The Banshees of Inisherin, and it re-teams Colin Farrell with Brendan Gleeson. They're back all together. And in this movie, Parik meets his friend Colm at the bar, and suddenly Colm tells him that he doesn't want to be friends anymore. And from there, crazy shit happens.
This movie caught me kind of off guard because it's such a simple story about like such simple things, I guess, but it impacts you in a way like we were just talking about in Seven Psychopaths, how like crazy things like keep happening, and you would think in a small tiny town in like the, I don't know, what is it, the 1800s or like, no, the 1900s, right?
It was like during the Irish Civil War.
Okay, I don't know when that was.
Yeah, me neither. I thought maybe you would know.
So like 1900s.
It's like early 1900s, right?
You can just say that.
Yeah, so like you would think that nothing that crazy was happening there at that time, but like some insane things happens with this these two friends and like their neighbors and their whole community. And I saw an interview that Martin McDonagh gave like last month, and he was talking about like the fact that like this was like a way more like action-packed movie when he first wrote it like years ago.
It's like my character was a bit, to be honest, cooler in the original script.
Yeah, like he rewrote the whole thing. Like the only thing that remained was like this dynamic of the friendship and the fact that they were ending their friendship basically. And yeah, like this movie is so fucked up, but so fun at the same time. And again, I think with his screenplays, they're usually the highlight, and it's the same here. This is a great screenplay.
Julie, who was your favorite performance in this one? Did you see it in theaters, by the way?
In theaters, I saw it again yesterday. I watched it with my boyfriend. He hated it, but I really like it in a lot of ways. It's one of those movies I admire more than I love, but I really liked it. It really made me laugh. It's entertaining, and the most interesting quality to his writing is that you don't know where the story is going, and it can be this simple story and you still are kind of just following it. You're not guessing. You're just, you're taking in all the words, to be honest, because there's a lot of them, and it's hard with the accents a little bit. And I watched it with subtitles last night. I got a lot more out of it. So, I mean, it's like one of those really quippy, like fast plays. Yeah. It feels a little more play-like than his other movies. But at the same time, I really appreciate that about it. It's a small town. Everybody knows each other's business. And how do you find really meaningful friendship in a small place like that? So I like a lot of the themes it brought up about like time and, just friendship. And we do have seasons of our life when we change our friends. And how many times, like, because we were friends doesn't mean that we need to be anymore. But like, how do we deal with that? And is it the hardest breakup we have sometimes? Yes, like breaking up with your friend means a lot more in a lot of ways for most people, different times of their life. So it brought up a lot. I really liked it. You could tell it was like a COVID screenplay. Like he wrote this during when he was isolated or something. So I liked that about it too.
You couldn't see his friends.
I think Colin has like a similar sadness in this performance that he did to In Bruges, especially because now that Brendan Gleeson's like, I don't want to be friends anymore. He's like really lonely, and he's kind of taking that out, even though he thinks he's like way better than everyone else on the planet, because everyone else is kind of an asshole, or at least a couple of the characters. Because there's one big character who like he's like he casually just beats his son, and you can see like also how like humorously sad the son character is, who also Barry Keoghan
plays it beautifully.
Wonderful job. Always rooting for him also. And Carrie Condon was also wonderful as his sister, and she fits in perfectly to this world of like that emotion, but also just the crazy humor that she's given, even though she's the voice of reason in the movie.
She's so funny.
Yeah. And now I'm watching Better Call Saul, which she's in, and and she has an American accent in it, so it's like weird to adjust that. And fun fact, she was Iron Man's AI in the last couple Avengers movies, in Avengers 2, 3, and 4. She was Friday.
Yeah, I don't recognize her from, and this is the first thing I think I know her from. You know, I don't recognize her from anything. But I really just like how her character is just like always angry at everyone around her, and she's like the only one who really knows things. She's
like, saying she might win the Oscar.
I think there's a really good chance she wins the Oscar for this role. And
do we want to talk a bit about awards chances?
Let's get into that. I just want to say that something that it's really nice how you were talking. Julie was talking about like the exploration of the friend breakup. And I think it's really interesting to get like both sides of that. It's really rare that a movie would talk about something like that, especially in like such a well-written way. Like in the beginning, you're kind of taken aback, and you kind of hate. It's Colm, his name, right?
Yeah.
I hate old names. But so you're like, wow, Colm is an asshole, but. When it starts going, he starts talking about his struggles, like with being remembered and all that, and like how, and sometimes you feel that about some friendships where you're like, maybe like in order for both of us to grow, we have to go our separate ways, like just like in relationships. And like, yeah, I just love that exploration. It made me think about a bunch of stuff.
I saw the actors on actors that Colin Farrell had with Jamie Lee Curtis, and he said, I found myself at times relating to Brendan Gleeson's character.
Yeah, so okay, let's talk about Oscar chances. I think we pretty much nailed the biggest Oscar chance this movie has, right? Is it her for Best Supporting?
For the win or for...
Yeah. For the win. If we're going
for the win, I think its best chance is screenplay. Right now. I think there's a lot of passion definitely behind both of the supporting roles because they're pretty much getting in everywhere together. It's not just one, it's mostly both of them together doing it. So I think it's like they have a way better chance than a lot of other people to get into this category. I think Carrie's definitely getting nominated. Not so sure if she wins because, to be honest, the supporting category is kind of nuts right now. I feel like she's the most solid nomination.
I think she's the only one that's for sure getting nominated right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Collins is definitely getting nominated. He's in the talk for the win. Possibly, I think that category is still up in the air. At least, it's between three of people that are going to get Best Actor, and he's one of them. And I do think Martin's going to get Best Director for the first time. And I think because he's in the Best Director, he's most likely to get that writing win. Especially singular writers win the most. So if there's two people writing a movie, they don't win as often as when there's one name on the ballot. So I think he has the better chance of winning.
I think I think you're right. I think he might pull a Tarantino and like be one of those like writer-directors that hasn't been recognized yet, and it's time that he is, and they're gonna do it through the screenplay because it is such.
Well, he has won an Oscar.
He has.
He won for best live-action short.
No, okay, it's not it's not the same thing.
I guess. Well, he was nominated for screenplay for In Bruges and 3 Billboards, and won for live-action short for 6 Shooter, and I think he has an excellent chance at a win for screenplay. But the main thing in his way is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I also think has a lot of passion. I think because it's such a beloved movie, even though it has 2 screenwriters, it could give Martin McDonagh a run for his money. I don't know if he's winning Best Director, but I think he'll get nominated. And then I think Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, Barry Keoghan, and Kerry Condon are probably all getting nominated.
If Colin Farrell won, honestly.
I'm saying that he's gonna. I'm saying that he's gonna win. And the reason is, I think the other 2 rivals that you mentioned are Austin Butler for Elvis and Brendan Fraser for The Whale. And I think for a while people are saying it's gonna be one of them, but I think I don't know if like Butler has that passion behind him, and B, I've heard a bit of controversy around The Whale with like him wearing a fat suit and some people thinking it was fat shaming, and I'm afraid that that's kind of gonna be detrimental to the movie. And plus, I think that's going to be the movie's only nomination, as opposed to Banshees of Inisherin, which is getting in for 4 performances, probably writing, picture and director, maybe also original score.
Yeah.
For Carter Burwell, who was also nominated for 3 Billboards and Carol.
Oscars love giving awards not for the actual performance, but for like the body of work. And Colin Farrell has such a quality background. Like he's always good. Like he was just a penguin like a year ago, and he completely changed for that role. Physically, he changed totally the way he spoke for that role, and like he does that on a dime, and like probably yearly. So that's why I think he's the front runner right now. I agree with what you said, Gal, that like The Whale and Brendan Fraser started off the Oscars, like the Oscar race, like a few months ago, as basically the front runner. But I think since then, all the criticism and the other performances that came out after, I think really gave him a run for his money. And I think it's Colin's year. Colin's year for sure.
Do you think Farrell has a really good chance of winning?
I think it's pretty split right now between the 3 of them for a couple different reasons. I think Colin could definitely get the boost of having a really great year last year. The Penguin, After Yang, 13 Lives, Banshees. He did this transformative thing, earlier in the year, and he blew it out of the park. We wanted more of him. He's going to have a show coming up. I think he's having a really good moment. And he used to not get such great roles. And he used to be like, when I was growing up, we would like laugh about him. He was like that guy. Like he wasn't like a prestigious actor. And I feel like Martin kind of helped him do that. Guy Ritchie kind of helped him like become like this, who he is right now. Like he's like in the moment. But, at the same time, I'm a 90s kid. I grew up with Brendan Fraser, and I am totally on board with him winning, and that's who I would vote for if I was in the Academy. And another thing we have to think about, too, is, like, people are still going to see The Whale, even though it's not playing a lot of places. It's per screening. If you look at it's
seats, really high.
The seats, it has number 1. It's been number 1 since it's been released limitedly. Yeah. It's been number 1, getting people in there, and everyone in the theater, when I saw it, there was like so many people talking about it after, and I don't really get that experience a lot where I'm around. I'm in the Philly area, but it's not like full theaters. But like I was in a full theater for The Whale, and everybody, when they were out, they were like, "Oh my God, it was so good." So I feel like it made people feel a lot, and I feel like it is rising, and I don't think it's falling. I feel like other movies from that time period at TIFF are falling, not that one. And also, I think if Hung Chau gets in, I think his chances get bigger. I think that is the difference between him winning or losing, in my opinion, because then people will be more likely to see the movie. And I think it is a movie we all want to see. It's like wanting to see, there's a car crash and wanting to see what happened. It's like you want to see this movie, and you want the Renaissance, so we say, is here too. So I think Colin Farrell and Brendan have this similar quality going on right now. People are excited for them.
Yeah, and
but
they've both never been.
Butler is like a little older in the year, but for me, a lot of people love him. So I mean, if I could speak from like just social media responses, I would say it would be Austin Butler.
Yeah, but like,
this is so not good.
The awards are loving it. Like it's gonna get nominated.
I don't understand when the awards do that. Like, there's so many good movies out right now. Like that movie is like, it's fine, but like compared to everything that's out right now, it is not even close.
It's overperforming. It's overperforming, but I don't hate anything. People like, you like what you like. Totally no hate.
For sure.
Like what you like. If you're happy with it, that's great. Like I just wasn't for me.
I'm glad people enjoyed Elvis. I didn't like it that much, but the fact that it's more likely to get nominated for Best Picture over like The Woman King is just sad. Because I loved The Woman King.
Deeply there. The Woman King is like my 7th favorite movie of the year.
But yeah, another thing about Farrell is he's never been nominated for an Oscar, and I did a top 10 actors never been nominated for an Oscar on my Instagram couple months ago, and he was my number 4. So it looks like he and Jamie Lee Curtis are going to get bumped off that list this year. And
Good, thank God they are. They don't deserve to be on that list.
And one more thing is, I do think Brendan Gleeson has somewhat of a chance to win, but his main competition would be Ke Huy Quan in Everything Everywhere.
I think Ke Huy Quan has that one locked.
I think, like, even though I'm totally in favor of Ke Huy Quan winning over him, I don't know, like, something about it, like first of all, Brendan Gleeson has been like more, I guess, longer in the game, and also it seems like the kind of performance they'd give it to. So I just think they're the 2 front runners right now, and we'll have a better idea when like the Globe and the SAGs are announced.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think we also agreed that it's time that Martin got that directing nod. He's not gonna win this year. This year is either gonna be, it's most likely gonna be Steven Spielberg. If not, there's an outside chance that maybe Cameron's gonna get it, but like,
yeah, maybe Cameron, maybe the Daniels.
But I don't think Martin's getting anywhere near that award. But I'm so glad that most likely he'll get the nom.
I think he'll get nominated. I thought it was getting nominated. I thought it was ridiculous that he wasn't nominated for directing for 3 Billboards. Even though
directing is always like a weird category to be fair.
Didn't get nominated for directing last year, but it was nominated 10 other times. It was so weird.
Yeah, and I remember
nominated for being a director, like Sorkin kept missing that nomination. Like a lot of directors that are writers.
Oh yeah,
so I think his nomination
should have gone in.
Yeah, his nomination will be his award, basically. I think that he's like 5th.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah, and we're all just talking about how he might take home screenplay, so let's just root for that, I guess. But yeah, I guess that's it.
All right, do we want to rank his movies?
Yes, let's rank his movies. Let's start with our most special guest, Julie.
Okay, my number 4 is Banshees of Inishirin, even though it's a 9 still.
Oh yeah, we didn't do ratings, so it is also an 8 for me.
Okay, I'd say 8.5. Okay, I'd say 8.5.
Yeah. My number 3 is In Bruges.
Okay.
And then my number 2 is 3 Billboards out Ebbing, Missouri, and my number 1 7 Psychopaths.
Sure. My number 4 would be 7 Psychopaths. I enjoy all these movies, as we've mentioned. Number 3 In Bruges, 2 Banshees of Inisherin, and number 1 3 Billboards.
Okay, so we all have different lists. That's so weird. I thought like with 4 movies we would have like similar lists. But number 4 for me, I agree with Julie's, The Banshees of Inisherin. Again, I love all his work, but like something has to come last, and for now it is Banshees. Third, it is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. For all the reasons that I said, again, it's still a fantastic movie. Second is 7 Psychopaths for me, and the first one is In Bruges.
Awesome.
In Bruges is so good. And I'm a fan of like the really small movies that like.
In Bruges is almost second. There's no good reason for me to like put Banshees over Bruges or Bruges over Banshees.
More of a ranking of like which movie I have like a 1% chance of wanting to see more, and like the last one is like 1% less and 1% less.
Exactly. One last thing I want to mention before we wrap up. I read this article where Martin McDonagh was being interviewed for one of the big newspapers, and he was addressing the fact that he took 5 years between 7 Psychopaths, and between 7 Psychopaths and 3 Billboards, and then between 3 Billboards and Banshees. And he said as a joke, "I'm the laziest filmmaker of all time." And that just sums up like how irreverent his humor is, let alone he's willing to poke fun at himself that way. So I just thought I'd share that.
If you have to take a 7-year break every time, and every time we get a great movie like this, you do it until you die, my man.
Yeah, he said, like, I don't want to make 20 movies or 20 plays that disappear. I want to take my time and make something that people remember, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, I even just watched 6 Shooter yesterday. Did you guys see it? It's like
I watched it just today, actually.
I haven't seen it.
It's available. It was really good, too. I just feel like he's I'm into the writing first. When I watch a movie, I'm into the acting second. The technicals are an addition to me. So I think this screenplay is just really good, and I look forward to writers a lot more than anything these days. So I'm into it. He's definitely up there, right? He's coming up. He's coming up the list, and I saw a lot of his movies this year. So he's new to me in a way.
Yeah, we were just talking about like this is the year that we both watched the most movies like ever.
Yeah, me too. Was this in your favorite movies of the year list?
It made my top 15. I think it was like my number 15. I still didn't post my official list. I'm like wrapping up all the end of the year things still. He's definitely up there, and this movie
also
is
my 15th of the year.
I put it in
number 15. That's my lucky number too, so it's a good number.
So no spoilers for Julie's top 10 of the year, but definitely check it out once it drops on her Instagram, and your other lists are so much fun to follow. So
they are.
Definitely give her a follow.
Love lists.
We love lists here too.
We just did our top 10 everything.
Yeah, we did
last
a
time.
top 10 worst top of the year, top 10 best of the year, and top 10 most anticipated of 2023. That's all in our channel. Go check it out. And go check out Julie's Instagram. If you love lists, that's the place to go.
Yeah, I'm not exactly a critic. I wouldn't call myself that, even though I am in the critics circle. I do like 5 reviews a year, but other than that, I love lists. I love giving recommendations and just letting people know what I saw. If I don't like a movie, I actually don't finish it, and that's why you don't see a lot of my movies ranked really low, is because I just don't finish a movie. If I'm not enjoying it, I just don't waste my time. So that's why I don't call myself a critic, because of that reason. So, because otherwise I'd be paid to do it. It would be different, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Wow, thank you so much, Julie. Where can people find you on the?
I'm on Instagram at Jusreel Reviews. That's JUSREEL Reviews, and you can just check me out on there. I post a lot of lists.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming. We had a blast with you. Sorry again for for recording 30 minutes for no reason. You were a good sport about it. Yeah, remember to follow us as well here at Film Fanatics Pod.
Guys, and it's been awesome, and see you next time.
See you. Thank you so much.
Always great talking movies.
You too. Thanks.
Gal, take us out.
All right, that was our director spotlight on Mr. Martin McDonagh. Check out his movies if you haven't already, including The Banshees of Inisherin, which is available on HBO Max and is getting some of the most awards buzz for any movie of the year. Alan, always great talking movies in the studio. And thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to follow us everywhere, including Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. And stay tuned for many more movie talk.
To leave that like really helps us out, and to leave a comment as well. Which one is your favorite Martin McDonagh movie? Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Gal. I'm Gal. I'm Alan.
And I'm Alan. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Film Fanatics. From the silver screen to your earphones with Alan Azulay and Gal Balaban.